between the countries of Zambia and Zimbabwe, there used to be Rhodesia, northern Rhodesia and southern Rhodesia. There is the river, the Zambezi. And this is the border between the two countries. And along that river, you find Victoria Falls, which is a spectacular natural waterfall rivaling Niagara Falls, called Mosi-oa-Tunya in the local language, which means smoke that thunders. My friend Julia is there now with her friends Jeannie and Amita, and sent some pictures, and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. And I wanted to tell her about my first visit there, my only visit there in the mid-'80s, but I thought I'd make a video because it probably won't get the effect if I just write it. So, but let me describe this hotel. This is just spectacular. It's one of those grand old colonial hotels, like Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo was before they burned it in the 50s, and Raffles in Singapore, and Victoria Falls Hotel. You have high tea there on this beautiful veranda. I'll post some of her pictures so you see what it's like. And then I'll tell you about my first entrance into the hotel. And here is the elegant Victoria Falls Hotel, a beautiful colonial hotel along the Zambezi River. And here's the front entrance and the staircase leading up to the rooms. And here is the glorious veranda where you can have tea or sundowners or gin and tonic. And here's the ladies having their high tea, Julia, Amita, and Jeannie. And there's a nice cuppa. And there's the high tea, scones with jam and clotted cream and maybe cucumber sandwiches, Julia will tell us. And here's the view from the hotel of Victoria Falls, the smoke that thunders. You see the steam rising, that's what they call it, the smoke and then the sound of thunder. I went there with Bill Lloyd, who at that time was in probably his mid-60s, which I am now, but he was a lot more cantankerous than I am, a lot more. Like an old Cape Buffalo, So I can't remember the sequence. I don't know if we flew into Livingston. I think we might have, but I think we went to the Zambezi National Park, which is right beside Victoria Falls. And there's also Victoria Falls National Park, but I think Zambezi is a larger park. Because I seem to remember being covered with dust when we were going to the hotel, which is not an unusual thing over there for me, but yeah. So I think I have a feeling we had just come from sort of a safari in Zambezi National Park. So somehow we got in a car with a driver and with our luggage, and he drives us to the hotel, but he didn't go to the hotel. It's on this isolated road, and he passes over this small rickety bridge, and he stops the car and says, all right, this is where you get out. And we assumed, oh, okay, so that means somebody else is coming to pick us up. So we get out, and he drives away. Now, I have to tell you, there is absolutely nothing here. Nothing. There was a water buck, an antelope. I do remember this image of this water buck along the side of the road grazing. And this is late afternoon, so the sun is going down. Nobody comes. You can hear these doves calling monotonously. And Bill and I are sitting there waiting. I actually used that scene as the beginning of my play Fruit Bat Safari Camp. People just abandoned on the road. This is where it comes from. So we're sitting there, the sun is going down, and I'm not kidding. We spent, I don't know, we were just there maybe an hour, and it was very clear that no one was coming to get us. Now, I don't know if this next part is my faulty memory, but I I seem to remember that we heard in the distance that sound a lion makes when they're that coughing sound. And we looked around and there were some trees. They weren't really tall, but there were trees. And we discussed, both of us smoking at the time, well, we should probably spend the night in those trees, just climb up in the trees. Just as we're about to do that, we hear a car engine coming. And this truck appears around a bend. And I'm not kidding. It was a pickup truck. And in the back, where the truck bed, there was a jail cell. It was a paddy wagon. And it's not like you see in old movies where it's all enclosed with only the door with bars. This was in a cage on the back of the truck. Like, I don't know whether it's for transporting criminals or wild animals or what it was, but we flagged them down and they stopped and we said, we need to get to the Victoria Falls Hotel. And they're like, okay. And they unlocked, there was a big padlock on the back of the paddy wagon, and they unlocked it and opened the door because there was no room in the cab. So Bill and I put our luggage in the back of this, in this jail cell, mobile jail cell, and they shut the door and lock it. So we're sitting on our luggage, like looking at each other like, what? I think he even said, ridiculous. And we drive. Now, the drive wasn't that far, but it was probably too far to walk because we didn't see smoke and we didn't hear thunder. So the Victoria Falls was far away, and so was the hotel. So we drive and we pull up to the front of the Victoria Falls Hotel in the back of this paddy wagon, locked inside like two mountain gorillas or two heinous criminals. And there were some other tourists there already, standing in front with some of the staff, well dressed. And they stop and unlock the door, and we climb out and just pass them evening, covered in dust. And that was my arrival at the Victoria Falls Hotel. I don't remember. I do remember the veranda and the high tea, but other than that, it's mostly that arrival I remember.